Well, hey y'all, happy Monday. Well, welcome back. Don't you know that it's just in time I came out here to start working on filming, and that promised 60 degrees of rain is coming upon us. So I'm out here getting this kale like I told you I was gonna cut it, especially because I have been nursing and battling the flu with my youngest daughter since Friday. So I've been tied to my walkie-talkie and kind of just living life by every 4 hours, 24 hours a day for the last 3 days. So I'm getting this kale, and even though I'm totally busy, I'm behind on my garden chores. Of course, there's things I've got to get done. So I thought I'd bring you along and share with you a couple things that I've got going on. So come along. Here's a little update on my slips. I pulled these two off of the main potato last week, and they're just kind of floating there with their roots, and they're steadily growing up and up. And this is the one that was at the top of the sweet potato, which is right here. And I just plucked it off today, so it wasn't anywhere near water, so now it's gonna start making roots. And this mint is ready to root up. And I want to mention that, you know, when you take a cutting and it starts making roots, it's going to take its energy away from taking care of these leaves up here. So when they start turning yellow and not so great, just don't worry about that. Here's my awesome onions. I'm trying something where I saw on YouTube where they just put a thing of garlic on top of some water and it started growing roots down. So I'm seeing about that. We used a bunch of this for dinner last night. I need to pour that water out. And I've got 2 more pineapples that I'm trying. I haven't had any more success with pineapples since the one I got potted up. So I'm trying different containers with a lot less water, and maybe we'll go to the soil quicker on these. But this is my little propagation station. So this is something that I've been wanting to try out for a long time. A lot of the people that I follow on Instagram, even here locally, use it, and they just really love it. So I finally broke down and got it, and I ordered it last Monday, and I actually ordered a pint, and they ordered this under my dad's name, so I'm not affiliated with them, but I ordered a pint and they sent me a quart because it took them a couple of days to get me shipped out. So that's awesome, and I'm pretty excited. So I thought I'd do a little unboxing here with you where we check out what's inside. So here is just some information about Soil Diva. It's a liquid microbial stimulant spray, and it takes a fresh approach to improving the health of your plants that you work hard to grow. So there's that, and I might need 2 hands for this. Oh yeah, I got a giant bottle. Wow, very cool. Because I just ordered, like I said, the pint, but I got an extra big bottle of it there. So this is a concentrate, and it says over here in the instructions that you just mix 1 ounce of this with water, and you fill like a 32-ounce spray bottle, and then mist the foliage and the soil every 7 to 10 days. Or you can make it into, like with your water pouring, you can mix it up into like your gallon watering jug and water the plants like that. So I'm pumped to try this out, and like I said, I'm not affiliated with them, but I am grateful that they, you know, threw in some little special because they were late on my order. My goal was to do my compost work on Sundays because this is all the food scraps that we have gathered throughout the week. Now, we've got, you know, a little can about this big that we did have on the counter for a little bit, but we've just found it to be easier, like when we're actually making a meal, to just either take the produce bag that the produce that we're working on came in, or grabbing like one of the bags from the grocery store, and then we just peel directly into that, or as we're chopping, we just throw all the parts into that. And if some of the pieces are bigger, I might go through and chop them down a little bit smaller. So as the one bag starts to take up the refrigerator, we just start throwing them in the freezer. Now, that's an extra good thing that you can do for your compost, because if you think about any type of vegetable, for the most part, that you've frozen, when you defrost it, it's full of water. And a lot of times, especially with greens, they're really mushy. So kind of putting them in the freezer is a way of already starting the decomposition process. So once they go here into the compost pile, when they melt and they defrost, they're going to already start ready to be breaking down and be easier for the microorganisms in the compost pile to break down as well. So now we're going to start dumping. Okay, so I wasn't that good about keeping this wet last week, I'll be honest with you, but I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna keep going, because I know that a lot of the stuff that was in there was already frozen and wet and decomposed, on its way to decomposing. So what we're gonna do then is I'm just gonna open my bags up and try to get as even of a layer going as I can, and then I'm gonna top it off with some more leaves. And if you didn't have more leaves, you could also use cardboard, or you could use paper, shredded paper, old paper towels, coffee filters, all sorts of things like that could act as your brown element. So I'm just going to finish this off, and right before I cover it up with browns, I'll show you what it looks like again. Here is also some leftovers. So over there's some refried beans, some old pieces of bread that we had, and here are some mustard greens that had been in the refrigerator, and then some extra onions and some berries. And again, I just tried to make a decent layer, and some of that, like that right there, is all frozen to each other. So I'm just going to kind of let it be and let it break down on its own. Now it's time for the brown. So I got all my wet green stuff covered back up by some brown stuff, and now I'm just going to water this in really, really well to hopefully keep these leaves good and wet as a good cover for all the foods that are underneath there. And so this will be our second layer, and this brown layer is a little bit thicker than the amount of greens that I put on there, but we're just gonna keep going. And that's me in my compost pile. Here are all the containers. I've got some more containers that are a little bit taller than these down here, and these are a little bit shorter than most of them. But I always recommend that you take the time to clean these out. So what I did is I filled this tub up about 1/4 of the way with water, and then I put, say, about a 1/2 cup to a cup of vinegar in there, and then my mom will buy anything off the internet. So I use these gloves to just go inside the cup and get as much debris out, clean the bottoms, and then I stacked them up and let them air dry. So definitely want to encourage you to clean out and soak your cups that you are recycling in some water and vinegar to just get rid of any previous disease or fungus. Okay, so here's a little update on my seedling tray, and if you look closely, I guess I've been overwatering because we've got a little white mold going. Now the white mold won't affect the seedlings, but if I do keep overwatering, it's going to mess up the roots of these plants. So the first out of the gate are the happiest and the tallest over here, and I'm really kind of regretting using this tray because you can see that it's like everything's at kind of different heights now. I've got about 34 tomato plants here and not quite enough cups right now, and I haven't had a chance to get my solo cup set up. So I want to remove this section because there's still stuff coming up over here. Like there's a tomatillo, there's a sweet basil, there's a large leaf Italian basil. These cold crops here, this may have just been a waste of my time, but it was fun, and I may still try to find a place to put them outside. But right now, my big priority are these tomato plants, because they're going to start spending a lot of time outside, and within a week or so I hope to get them in their final home. Well, I hope you enjoyed checking out the couple of things that we've got going on. My tips for reusing little planter cups, how my little tip on putting your food scraps in the freezer, and the little agony that I'm having with my seedlings and needing to get them planted up, and my unboxing of the Soil Diva. So I hope you have the best day ever, and I'll catch up with you next time.